following is a production of Dirty Mo Media. Hey everybody, it's Dale Jr. back again for another episode of the Dale Jr. Download. It is Dirty Air and it's Tuesday and co-host TJ Majors is here. We're back in the studio.
Glad to be back. Had a good time, but the studio is always nice.
Yeah, you and I took our families to the beach.
Yeah.
I gotta give it to you, brother.
What'd I do?
You hung in there, beer for beer.
Did I?
Yeah, I thought you did pretty good.
Oh, I didn't know we were keeping score.
Usually,
yeah.
If you go on vacation with TJ, trying to get him to have a few drinks is
I don't start till night a lot.
Yeah.
What?
It's like trying to feed a 5-year-old Brussels sprouts.
It's not happening.
Not happening.
You're not going to feed me Brussels sprouts
But
now.
Hey, TJ, man, he was having some beers at lunch.
Oh, we were. I felt.
You were doing good.
Yeah, I felt like. Yeah, maybe we were even. I don't know.
Dude.
You didn't say you're
We're
even.
not
You
even.
kept up.
You ran a good pace. I was proud of you.
Pace was good. That's all that matters.
Yeah. But yeah, good trip. And man, kids got to do a lot, got to play.
Oh, kids, that's all we did all day. Blow this up, fix this, dude.
Yeah. Tons of swimming.
Yeah.
We then went to Chicago. I'm trying to think. Gosh, what did I miss anything? Feels like I've been just going and going and going. I am tired today. I got up this morning and worked out. I'm a little tired.
Well, that's why you're tired today.
Yeah.
That's a good habit, though.
Yeah.
What time did you get up?
Well, I set the alarm for 7.
Oh, you got to get up early.
Amy said, let's work out. Let's get up in the morning. I said, all right. So I set this alarm at 7. So I said, Amy, 7 o'clock, alarm. Let's go. And we laid there in bed till about 7:20. We finally got up.
Yeah.
We did our 30 minutes, got in the shower, and here I am.
So every once in a while I'll get up super early, like 5, and that's like the house is so quiet at 5 o'clock in the morning. You can get like 2 hours of work in before anything moves, and it's nice.
I got home from Chicago Sunday, had a relatively good time, and you know why? Because they kind of started that race at a half-assed decent freaking hour. Thank you. But it's also weird because it's getting dark at like 8:30, 9 o'clock at now. So you'll get home, a little bit, still light outside.
Yeah, it is weird.
And you're like, dang, this is like old school. Getting home from a race, and it'd be 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, but it's later than that. College football comes out Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I get in a bit. I played my game against Darren in our league.
In the morning.
Now at night.
Did you play it at night?
No, we did play it in the morning.
I was going to say, I got to score in the morning.
Played it Monday morning.
Yeah.
Dominated. I scored on him with under 2 minutes left. Kind of a move, but I needed to do it. And then College Football 26 comes out. Play with that a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not sure.
It'll be all right.
Not sure about it.
Just give it time.
Well,
it's like Novocaine.
Not that anybody listening to this right here gives a damn, but they adjusted the view a little bit. Like TJ's view or the standard sort of view that's a little closer. I like to be backed up so I can kind of see the receivers a little bit, and I play from that angle.
So they did change that. I don't know if you know that. When you hold the trigger down, it now widens out.
I know, but if I play in your view and I hike the ball, I'm way too close. I'm too close to the players, and I can't really see the holes and who's coming at who. And I'm too close, and I'm too flat. I like to be up and looking almost kind of down.
I like the coach that end zone camera way up, kind of.
But
you do play
from
all
way 22.
Up.
Well,
yeah, exactly what that's what.
No,
I
it's just before that. It's the one.
Yeah, it's a little bit closer.
Well, they've widened that out even more, and it's too wide now. And when you hike the ball, you back up. Like when the ball is hiked, you zoom out a little bit even more. Why'd they do that? I
don't know. It didn't. My view hasn't really changed on it. I think that
those are the little things that don't make it better. That's the little stuff that's like, leave that alone. I'm so used to the point of view from the whole year we've been playing 25.
Yeah, I know. You don't want it to really change.
Don't tinker that little because us guys that like to play on the wide cam don't want you to.
Every year we would get Madden. Every year we would get the new Madden. The view is always the same. And
it's like we went backwards on the play art for the play selection.
It's definitely, it's crisper and cleaner, but it's definitely, I think it rotates. I do. I think next year it'll be back to it just rotates.
I hear you. I just thought the play art was easier to look at in 25 when you're in the play selection, but hell.
I agree a little bit. But we'll see. I'm still
enough. We were talking about college football 26 for the Xbox or PlayStation. I suppose.
Now, yeah.
And it just came out. It's a big deal. They did a lot to make the game
bring
better.
the game back too.
Well, they brought it back last year, and now this is their real first. Like, here's all the bells and whistles. You know.
I agree.
Let's go to Chicago. Man. First off. You know, you get done with these races, and there's a lot of little avenues of thought, conversation, complaint. We're going to try to go through most of those. One of them that I didn't understand at all is and help me if I saw a couple people in the media. I think Jeff Gluck and Jordan were talking about it a little bit, and then Pete Pistone was talking about it in a Twitter post about people complaining that we're going to Chicago or went to Chicago or in Mexico. Like, I hadn't heard none of this shit. Who is complaining?
Yeah, I haven't heard her. Like,
who is complaining so much that Gluck and Jordan needed to address? Like, hey, guys, if we're, growing the sport, we need to go to these places. You've gotten Wilkesboro back. You got the Rockingham back. You got this and that and other. We still can do those great things that you love and nostalgic about, and we can go grow the sport in Mexico City and Chicago. Stop complaining. But I ain't heard anybody complain.
There's fans out there that don't want to go to Chicago.
Where did you see that?
On social media.
Which app?
Twitter.
Really?
Yes. Okay. I'm not saying it's a
I believe you.
Loud majority, but there's fans out there. You're always gonna have. There's always negative people.
What was their problem?
They don't. I don't want a street course. I want to race on an oval.
Oh well, I feel that way, but I mean, I'm not complaining about it because I don't get to choose.
Yeah.
If I had my way, our asses will be racing South Boston and all kinds of fun little racetracks. But it ain't happening. So I don't sit on social media and about it and say this is where we need to go to South Boston.
As an entertainment value, I don't know how you don't watch that race and you're not entertained. Like, there's so many elements to that race. There's guys getting in missing corners. There's natural
I just
wrecks.
think my opinion, I guess, is like Gluck, Jordan. I don't see the reason why they had to address it. It wasn't allowed enough. It wasn't a big enough group of people, to address it. For Pete Pistone to tweet about it just adds credibility to the people that are saying that.
Yeah,
I
know what you mean.
It's a pointless thing. So I just didn't understand that. I love to pick this apart. Like we go, we race, and then we come home and everybody complains about what they want to complain about, and then I love to read all that and go,
well, this is similar.
I disagree or I agree, and so that's what we're doing right this minute.
To me, this is like Blaney. Whether it was after Atlanta, wherever it was, we ran a race and they tweeted the ratings and Blaney called them out like, so we're actually better than this and we're still doing good.
Yeah. That 1.6, man, need to be a little bit better than that.
For this week or?
For Atlanta.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing, but.
I mean, you'd love it to be 3 million people or 2.6 or 2.2. You'd love it to be up there. It wasn't. It is what it is. Everybody says it's a Saturday night thing. I don't know. Like, we used to race the only night race we had, I guess, was Bristol for a long time in the 80s. And people think that I talked to some people in the industry up in the very top, and they're like, we got we got too many Saturday night races now. It's not a thing anymore. And, but I don't know, man, if it was, if something's good, you seek it out.
That's what I'm saying. If you want to watch, you're going to watch no matter when it is.
I know, but it's Atlanta was great. So why was a number 1.6? I mean, Atlanta was a great race, and we knew it was going to be a great race. We all knew it was going to be a great race.
Yeah,
why didn't more people watch it? I don't know. Didn't make any sense.
Because you got options.
You got options on Sunday too. You still can get a 2 or a 1.9 or a 2.2.
But do you think the average fan's gonna be more available on a Sunday at 1:00 or a Saturday at 7? You know what I mean? Like that. to me, they're like he
I
says.
think if it's good and you like it and you'll seek it out.
Yeah.
Why, you can't sit here and say, man, we need to start at 1:00 on Sunday and go up against the NFL, but we don't need to be racing on Saturday night at 7. That's crazy, man. There's not nobody's going to watch that.
You can't pull them Saturday night because there's no more basketball.
Well, I'm just saying you can't.
We're not really competing against much on Saturday night.
If it's good, people will seek it out. I've always felt that way.
Yeah, I mean, I would always find time to find if something's on that I want to watch, you're gonna watch it.
Now, so I get that there's better. We know this about social media too. There's better hours to post. There's more. There's prime time. There's time when people will have more freedom to either read your content or watch your video or watch your race. And so I understand we can't have this happening at 5:00 in the morning on a Thursday, but Saturday night versus Sunday shouldn't be that big of a shift, I don't think. Second race with TNT, the Prime stuff was amazing. Great group, had a lot of fun, a lot of help from NBC to sort of get them going. Tons of help. The TNT group is all TNT. Some people have been in the broadcast booth before. Some people have broadcast and been part of a race production before. Not everyone, but there are some people in the TNT truck that have some really awesome experience. I will also say that from the booth to the truck to my bosses there at TNT, everyone is busting ass and everybody's a hard worker and everybody has the best intentions, and there's nothing about it that feels like we're cutting a corner. And I feel like that we got probably two of the toughest races to direct and produce for a new group that hadn't done it in, some hadn't done it in years. We got two of the toughest racetracks between Atlanta. So Atlanta uses the original camera locations, but now you're broadcasting that same race that you broadcasted years ago. You're broadcasting it in fast forward now. It's like the way the cars get around that track and how quickly you have to cut the race it's a challenge. So for any new team coming in that hadn't cut a race in years, if not ever, it's one that can you're chasing the race the whole time instead of being out in front of it. And that's understandable. I thought we did an okay job at Atlanta, and I felt like going into Chicago, I told anybody that would listen, I was like, man, we'll make some big gains here because we got one under our belt. But I really underestimated the challenge of doing a street course.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more.
We couldn't use aerial because there's a ton of blockage, trees and stuff like that. Aerial's sort of a saving grace, if you will, when you're kind of having a tough time getting to where you want to go. It's a good way to sort of bust out of the action ground level and get everything that you want on the screen and sort of find yourself back where you want to go on the track with the location you want to be at. But
is that a common thing? During a broadcast?
So if you go to if I don't know, I'm not a director and a producer. I could not do any other job. I could not go into that TV compound and do a different job. I couldn't. And I don't pretend to know the business. I know how to be an analyst, and I love play-by-play. I grew up listening to play-by-play and admiring Barney Hall.
Oh, it's great.
And those guys. So I love getting the chance to sort of do some play-by-play during the race, and that's just what I want. And if fans are happy with me in the booth, they're going to get that. If they don't like what I do, they can voice their opinion, and the people that are the network gods will decide somebody else can go do it. But getting back to our broadcast, there were some moments where we stumbled, and looking back on it, I certainly wish that we would have left there with with a better reaction or a little bit better temperature on social media. And everything that I've read about on social media, we missed the Bubba spin out of turn 2, the 51 wreck. All of those things, everyone in our team are hyper aware that we all have had conversations, even in the last 48 hours, of, yep, I wish that would have went differently. Yep, we should have done X, Y, and Z instead of what we did.
Sure, you always go back and look at that. Yeah.
And so, I just want people to know, like, I think we as a team are aware of some of the things that we could have done differently in some moments, some things we wish would have went better. And there is a massive want to. There is nothing but all hands on deck. Everybody is ready to go to Sonoma, work even harder. The things that we'll do to try to make sure that we shore up and really hit the mark in our broadcast. We're gonna spend every minute of the week trying to prepare ourselves for this upcoming event, so that we don't have a misstep in a big moment. Yeah. And so, I just want people to know that it's a really good group of people. It's a great team, and they want to do this and get this right, and they can and will. And I will say this: it'll never be harder. It'll never be harder than it was at Chicago to broadcast a race for a team. There's no booth, which is, that's
challenging.
That's very challenging to be on property, but not really be able to help the truck. So the production truck, you have the producer who's, deciding on what's coming next. Not really the camera that you're going to look at, but he's deciding, all right, we got to pay off this in-car camera. We're going to read this promo card. And, when the racing action's happening, he kind of lays out a little bit, but he's the one that's sort of steering the whole path of the broadcast. The director's the one sitting there deciding what exactly is on the camera at all times.
So
and he is freaking
busy.
And then there's a guy sitting next to him with a gigantic board with buttons for all those cameras, and that guy's sitting there hitting all those buttons as the director's telling him, camera 4, camera 11, camera 19, camera 36.
Man.
And it's just bam, 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 bam. And so it's freaking impossible.
Hard.
I don't know how they do it.
I
really don't.
I don't know how they would do it either. Sounds really difficult.
Well, when I'm able to be in the booth and look out across the racetrack, that's why I said, in the off season, I would not be into doing a booth that was in Charlotte, right, for a race that was somewhere else. I wouldn't want to do that, because I need to be not only feel the energy of the actual event, like be at the event to feel like the crowd and the energy, because it's the environment there.
You want to be immersed in it.
Yep. The environment really makes a difference in how you feel and how excited you are about what's happening. But when I can look out the window and see the 51 hit the tire barrier, I can obviously go, wow, that's a freaking awesome, nasty hit. That goes up my priority list of things that has to be talked about and has to be shown. And, when we saw him in the tire barrier at first, we were like, oh, yep, he missed. He locked the brakes up and slid into the wall. And we still should have prioritized it, but we didn't realize that it was as severe as a crash.
Nobody would, Dan.
Well, yeah, and that's on the booth to a point. So those are the things that when I can see the track, I can help point the producer to or the director to. And that's something I learned from Jeff Burton. When he's working in a booth, he's on talkback, which is the button that you will be able to talk directly to the producer. He's on that button all the time. Hey, battle for 7th is going to be a good one in a few laps. Hey, this guy's,
he sees it coming.
He sees it, and I do that a little bit, but when I can't freaking, when you're not able to look out and see, we were in a trailer about a block from the track.
Mm-hmm.
And we had all the cameras on a big screen, but I can't look at those cameras and go, okay, is anybody spinning out? Has anybody hit a wall? I've got to look at the production and talk about what's on the camera or what's on TV. So it's like hard to. I even had a friend of mine, Steven Steffen. I had him sit in the booth, and all he did was watch those cameras And I said, look, if somebody spins out, somebody hits a wall, slaps a wall, bends a toe link, whatever, I don't care what it is. He had a whiteboard in his hand. And I was like, write it down on that whiteboard and put it out in front of us where we can see it. And so we can tell
a little bit more info.
No. So we could tell our director or producer, somebody's backwards in turn 6. We got to get the camera there. Not that they wouldn't be able to do that. Usually they're going to see that as well in their truck. But we were just trying our hardest to like be ahead of it.
Yeah, there's
right?
so many corners and so
because
much happening.
When you're doing a race from a studio, you can't stay ahead of it. You're just reacting to what everyone else is seeing. And I've read all the comments. Anytime there's ever been a race where they do it from a studio, the fans don't love it. They don't love it as much. And we were working our hardest trying to avoid some of the things that were just unavoidable. And, so anyways, I think that, going into Sonoma, I've never broadcast a race there, but we do have a booth. We do have a relatively decent view of most of the racetrack. I do think I know exactly what we're walking into in terms of the race. And
where are you located there? Do you know?
The booth, I'm assuming, is on the front straightaway behind
Gotcha.
the pits. So we'll be able to see 11, maybe coming down the S's a little bit, watch them kind of going back up the hill. We won't see them down in turn 4. But, I know I got in my mind really what all the camera shots look like because I've watched enough races there. And so I was saying, like, the things that we're going to do to, like, help try to prepare ourselves and our team to broadcast the race, we'll watch back Chicago together, and we'll have the honest conversations about things that we thought should be better. And this could happen in any broadcast, even the ones that people go, damn, that was a great one. We still watch back and go, hey, here's where we should have been better.
You have to.
Well, we'll do that with Chicago, and then we'll watch all of the Xfinity action, practice. We're all going to get in the truck and watch all this together and sit down and go, man, that's a great shot. I think that's a great cut. I think they could have gotten there quicker. I think we should do this one. I think we should avoid this camera because it really is, it's just eye candy. It's not really helping us. And so, and we'll watch the entire Xfinity race. I should have done that. So this weekend, I'm pissed at myself because I went and sat on Carson Quapple's box during the Xfinity race. My ass should have been in the production truck watching with the director and getting ourselves ready for tomorrow, for Sunday. And so, that was...
Do you feel like Sonoma will be easier, though?
Yes.
Well, I'm just saying
the
for
street
you...
course is so hard.
You're familiar with Sonoma, too, so some of the ins and outs of the track, too.
The Sonoma track, I'm hoping that, the Sonoma track, with its years of experience, having had races there forever, all the camera locations are already known, built in. All of the things that they'll have to go out there and set up and wire and fiber and all of that is already known and
there's an outline.
It's understood. Chicago, I mean, even though we've been there 3 years, everything's moved and everything's in a little different location. It's a little hard and
it's still finding its way.
Yeah, and you're having to wire that place every time you go there. You're having to run miles of cable to every camera shot location.
For sure, yeah.
And you brought in a team that had not ever done a race there, right? Some people, a group of people within our production haven't done a race at a street course, and it ain't the same as a road course, a regular road course. Street courses, I've got a new opinion, not just in broadcasting, but even in motorsports, that while SVG's a badass road racer, I think he's maybe, wouldn't you say, better at street courses than the rest of the NASCAR industry.
Absolutely.
Whereas at traditional road courses, he's still better, but the gap's a little more. So I don't know if I even categorize the street course in the same group as, I would say, Watkins Glen or Sonoma, right?
Same here. Even with we go to Sonoma, I can see the entire track.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like,
nice.
they're not entirely two different disciplines, but there's some like core knowledge that applies to a street course that might not apply to Sonoma. And it's certainly, I would say, the same in broadcasting in terms of how you broadcast the event. And the great thing about TNT, man, again, they are people that want to get this right and they want to kick ass. And we've got 3 races to work our ass off to try to freaking end on a solid note so we can go into preparing for the next season and continue to grow. Chicago, the racetrack, the street course, I enjoyed the hell out of it. The first year, I didn't do last year. The first year, we stayed in a different hotel. It was a pretty good experience, but I really didn't move around very much. My hotel was literally in turn 6. I came out of the hotel and I'm on the racetrack. I walked to the racetrack every day, walk back and forth. I bet on Saturday we did the track walk at 7 o'clock in the morning, 2.2 miles. I walked back and forth to the hotel, another 2 miles. And I bet during the day going up and down pit road and to the TV compound and every damn where else, I bet I did about 6.5 miles Saturday just walking.
Your phone will tell you.
Okay.
You can look it up.
Yeah.
Probably did. I mean,
I don't know.
There is a lot of walking there, but it's fine. It's good.
No, I'm just saying I enjoyed it.
Me too.
I did not do that much moving around. I mean, I didn't do that much moving around the first trip. This trip, we had dinners at different restaurants every night. Thanks to Letarte, because he's the dinner guy.
That, yeah.
I mean,
He loves that.
Dude, he does. We're going to Sonoma Thursday. We've got dinner Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and he sets all that shit up.
And he orders what you're gonna eat too, right? Half the time.
Yeah, which is fine. He took us to an Italian joint the first night in Chicago, and it was excellent. So then we had a dinner with NASCAR and TNT at another restaurant the night before the race, which was cool. Talking to Helton and Jim France and all those guys, sitting across from Jim France for dinner. That was awesome.
So on race day, when did you go to the booth you were in? Sunday morning.
Well, the TV. So you're in the TV compound, and it's a block from the track. In between the TV compound and turn 12 is the Cup Garage.
Yeah.
So I was 1 block away from turn 12. We had all these. This is consistent with every race. They rent these little trailers that like you might see at a construction site. And in one of those trailers will be a couple couches, and the talent can hang their clothes and put their bags, and everybody can kind of hang out. And we'll also have our meetings in there. We have a production meeting where there's a table and everybody sits around it, and we decide what we're going to do. We have the production meetings about 2 or 3 hours before the race starts. The booth trailer was in the trailer right next to that.
So you're right there.
Everything that I needed to do. I didn't need to leave the TV compound. Obviously, it was.
So did you get to experience like the driver intros? You were in there for the driver intros and stuff?
I was down in turn 12.
Okay.
When the drivers were riding around on those floats.
Yeah. The driver intro on the stage out front with the DJs and stuff was really cool, man. Like it was like they did a really good job bringing like just how it was a show, man.
Yeah.
It was really cool. I mean, like you said, you know, like before the race, you kind of get pumped up before the show. Like after watching the driver intro, you're like, man, I'm ready to race. Like it was, they did a really good job with all that stuff, and it made it just, I mean, it wound you up. It got you ready for the race. And so that was all really good.
Yeah. Running a business without visibility, that's like racing without a spotter. You might think everything's fine until it's not. That's why safety culture exists, to help teams see what's really going on in real time. Safety culture gives team members on the ground an easy way to call attention to things, fix issues fast, and make sure nothing is missed. It doesn't matter if you're on a job site, in a warehouse, or running deliveries. If you're on a fast-paced team, you need tools that help everybody see clearly. Just look at our friends over at Trackhouse Racing. They are competing at the highest level of NASCAR and using safety culture to track every detail from car checklists to how each chassis runs at different racetracks. I always loved when I knew I was getting in a car that had been fast for me in the past, and I was able to take it to victory lane. That's how much drivers pay attention to the details, and those details are more important than ever. When your whole crew can see what's happening, they make better calls, waste less time, and avoid costly surprises. That's how you stay ahead, not just in racing, but in every business. You want to run your business like a NASCAR team? Head to safetyculture.com/SVG and check it out.
Hey, TJ, I like that phone. Is it new?
Yeah, I got this awesome new phone. I've recently joined the Consumer Cellular family, and they hooked me up with a great phone and great service.
You're telling me that your phone actually works at the racetracks?
Yeah, my phone has been excellent at the racetracks, and honestly, you can't beat the Consumer Cellular service and the offers they have going right now.
I mean, that's cool, but I'm assuming that it's probably kind of expensive, right?
Yeah, that's funny. Consumer Cellular is a steal of a deal. I don't know why more people have not made this switch. Nationwide service, fraction of the price, the 2 for $60 plan, no long-term contract. I mean, it's awesome.
All right, I'm in. So how do I get this deal?
They basically have an elite pit crew on standby waiting for you to call and make the switch. It's 100% U.S.-based customer service. Takes around 20 minutes, and it'll be one of the best decisions you ever make. And now it couldn't be a better time to switch to Consumer Cellular and get $25 off with code DJD25. That's DJD25 for $25 off when you switch to Consumer Cellular. Go to consumercellular.com/DJD and use promo code DJD25.
I can't even imagine how much of a spider web the agreement or any future agreement or how to even get down that path is for NASCAR in the city and all that. And you don't know really who's telling the truth about whether they, they really want to do this again or not. But if they said tomorrow, yeah, there's a new 2-year deal or a new 3-year deal, I wouldn't be mad about it.
Me neither.
The race itself is entertaining as
Absolutely.
The guys, they have a really challenging time with that racetrack, and I feel like, honestly, it's not like the more they run, the better, the less trouble they have. What I thought I saw, so when we went there for the first time, yeah, they all had a lot of trouble because they were running into corners and learning that they couldn't get into those corners that deep, or they were making mistakes. We had a lot of weather, rain, guys were spinning out and sliding in water and wrecking. We got there this weekend, and everybody had a lot, had a couple races under their belt at this racetrack. They'd done a lot of sim work. We had a dry racetrack, and then we started seeing people make mistakes because they were pushing too hard.
Exactly.
Right. And now they were confident, like the 24 crash in practice. Right. He's like, you know what? I'm hauling ass. I'm going to shape this corner just a little different. Oh, I can't do that.
It's a bunch of them that did that.
And then the track was hotter than they were expecting. So then it got messing.
Well, they're just going to push harder. And when they overstep, it hurts.
Yeah. So this place, what we usually do when we go to any other racetrack is, yes, we push harder. You run a lap, great lap. I'm going to go in the corner a little deeper. I'm going to try to back it up and get in the gas sooner. You adjust to try to go faster as a driver. That's what you do your entire life. One lap after the next is you change a little something, trying to make it faster, trying to do it better. You can't do it there because
it just bites you.
It's walls.
The margin of error is really small.
Yeah. It's zero.
I love it.
And so that I do too. And that's the thing that a street course provides that no other track really provides that. And so, in most scenarios at other racetracks, there's still no margin for error, but there's a little opportunity to survive. There's a runoff. Even in an oval racetrack, there's room to sort of gather it up. Yep. Right? And so, but here there ain't. And as they get more confident and as they say, oh, I'm gonna get a little cute. I'm gonna change my line, blah, 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 and then they bust their ass. So that's what I thought we saw this weekend. Now they cleaned it up in the race a little bit. Qualifying and practice, boy, there was some mistakes.
A little bit in the race. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah. So I'm entertained by the race itself. We had a good race, and I think SVG is going to be hard to beat there.
Absolutely.
That's kind of the only thing, honestly, that I see as not a kind of a drawback is that there's a guy that's really good comparable to the rest of the field, and that could be a bit of a bummer for some people that want to tune in and go, oh well, we're just going to watch SVG kick everybody's ass. But I mean, the racing throughout the rest of the pack and the strategies, you had like 3 different strategies.
Yeah, he didn't lead the entire race.
No.
There was cautions.
That was crushing it.
Yeah.
There was cautions that guys jumped that pit.
That's right.
And that was perfect.
Yeah.
But he did a great job navigating that and making it through it.
I agree. I'm just
Yeah, no, it had everything.
It did. It really did. So I don't know if they'll go back. I hear that, San Diego is going to take its place. There'll be a street course in San Diego of some type, and that is what will take Chicago's place. But
I read an article that there was a 2-year option. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that Chicago can't still exist. Maybe Mexico City goes away and Chicago shifts to a different part of the schedule. I don't know, but I think there's a potential where you could see us racing at Chicago and San Diego for sure. There's a world where that exists.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
I don't think that they're adding another road course. I think it's like, all right, there's
we're limited.
How many do we got? 6?
Yeah, I think 5 or 6.
Yeah, I think it's 6 right now. So whatever the number is today, that'll be the number next year. But I just don't know which racetracks it's going to be. But I'm feeling like the San Diego deal's done. People will say it's not done, but I feel like it's done. And then it's like 50-50 between going back to Chicago or going back to Mexico City. And then you always have the hope that we get to Montreal again. And I think that's NASCAR's intention to get there. Now, that might not happen next year. But, that's kind of how I hear things going down. What about you? You hearing any?
Same boat.
Yeah.
Same boat, I think.
Anything different than what I'm hearing?
No, I think everybody's in the same boat on that. I think we don't know how it's going to shake out. I think we know the tracks. We just don't know the order and, if one's not going to make it or not. But I wouldn't be mad with the Chicago and a San Diego. I wouldn't be mad at. I mean, they're exciting.
Yeah.
I think they're good races.
I sat on top of the pit box with Carson watching the Xfinity race and had SVG and Connor Zilisch battling there at the end. And this is always tough because I don't know what you guys think. Like everybody, I'm sure has a really, has the perfect opinion about how they would handle this. All right, man. Let me ask you, and you got to be quick and brief, okay? You don't get to do. You don't.
Your first reaction, your first instinct.
You're gonna. I'm gonna walk you through this, and then you got to answer. You own the car for SVG and Zilisch. You watch them go down in the corner, and you watch what happens in turn 1, and then you get off the pit box, and you're walking down pit road, and you're gonna see Zilisch first. He's there, and then you're gonna go to victory lane. You get to Zilisch. What do you say? You got to say it.
We got to learn.
What?
Need to learn.
You're terrible.
He needs to learn what?
He left an opening there for SVG.
All right.
Don't assume that a guy's going to give it to you just because he's your teammate and friend.
All right. And then you go to SVG, victory lane, take a picture. What's the first thing you say?
Thanks for the W.
There you go. All right. TJ, you walk up to Connor on pit road. He's dejected. What do you say?
I mean, first I pick him up, tell him, great job today, man, that you did everything you could do. Without tearing up 2 race cars, you guys raced hard. Would I be mad at you? You race him how he raced you? Everyone finished. I mean, I think he did a great job today. Yeah. He did everything he could do, and he got beat by the best road course racer that we have in the series right now.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, I pick him up, and he's going to go back and he's already going to replay this race in his head 1,000 times.
Oh,
so he's already good enough.
All right. Well, he said, I understand he's racing for the win, but I didn't have a chance there. He stuffed me in the wall. Definitely frustrating, but still really cool to get Red Bull and WeatherTech a 1-2. I'll definitely remember the way he raced me. I didn't expect him to do that, but I get it. We're racing for the win. I thought that his comments were good. This is a critical moment for Connor.
Mm-hmm.
Connor Zilisch has the opportunity to be a multi-time, 4 or 5-time champion in NASCAR. He has an opportunity to have a, 50-plus win career. All that stuff is really, I think, realistic. And he's just, he's just one of those guys that sort of feels like he's got not only the talent to do all those things, but the but the pathway and a ton of people in the industry that believe it. And so it's important, I think, that when he gets in these scenarios and these situations, it's important what he says, how he acts, how he responds, because we're all believing from what we've seen from him that there's this path forward, but we also haven't experienced a lot of how, his personal reactions to things. How does he handle stuff? Is he a punk? Is he generous? Is he forgiving? Is he
Respectful?
Is he jealous? What is it, right? What's his emotion in these type of moments? And I honestly feel like I've felt like he's really mature beyond his years, and these comments are good comments to come from an 18-year-old after that situation, right?
Yeah, if you read these comments, you'd think that it was a 28-year-old.
Most 18-year-olds, right? It's great. It's exactly right. Most 18-year-olds are going to say, they're going to speak more from the frustration of it, right? And not know how to filter it so they don't sound like a punk, right?
See, I do think I would have liked to see, I needed to execute a little bit better on the restart and get away from him and clear him, because all I see right here is he is the exact same way, because he did the exact same thing SVG did at Coda.
Well, Connor's...
He did the exact same thing.
He did. Connor's aggressive. He did say in his post-race press conference, it wasn't dirty. We're racing for the win on the last restart. I just didn't expect it. Kind of caught me by surprise. I wouldn't consider it dirty at all. I could have done a better job at keeping leverage, but I let him get a nose ahead of me at that point. It's his corner, and you can't do that.
That's really good.
Well, see, that's the thing you got to remember. The first one was right after the race, probably, so he hasn't really thought about it, and he's just speaking. And so then he's able to craft what he wants to say a little better.
Yeah, he said, by no means does he have to leave me room. I expected it, but I won't expect it next time. Not mad about it. Wish I could do it again. I'd do it differently.
If we do it again, he gets a better restart and he doesn't even have a chance.
Dude, I just feel like he's doing a good job here managing the frustration of it. So that's important, because I think,
you can see a lot from this.
Yeah, and you can go, all right, fans can go, I can get behind this guy. He's not going to make an ass out of himself in these scenarios, not make me, cringe when he doesn't get his way on the racetrack, right? And so, but I walk up to Zilisch on pit road as SVG's doing his burnout, and I say, hey, man, he ran you pretty dirty there. I didn't expect that from him. I was on the radio a little bit, just a tiny bit, with all the drivers, or at least talking on Channel 2 to some crew chiefs throughout the entire race. And I almost came over the radio before the last little run there to the finish to tell Connor, I don't think SVG is going to put the bumper to you. I think SVG wants to pass you clean, that he will, that's his MO. He's going to try to work his way around you cleanly. And so I want to let you know that I believe you can be patient and not overdrive your entries and just concentrate on good, straight, hard corner exit. Because if you feel like the guy is going to push you into the corner, you overdrive the corner and then you miss the exit and they drive by you. And so I was like, Connor's a better road racer than I was ever in my life. He's an excellent road racer, no question. And I'm not sitting here thinking I need to give him advice on that. I was just wanting to let him know, I don't believe SVG's the guy that's going to put the bumper to you. Boy, I'm glad I didn't say it, because he did, right? And so I walked up to Connor after the race. I was like, man, I didn't expect that, and I think he should have treated you a little better there. He basically said, either hit the wall or lift coming out of 2. And I too agree. I expected him I expected SVG to do something differently than what he did.
Because he's driving a junior motorsports car?
Just because it's SVG. When SVG was racing the first Chicago race, I got people in Australia that know him, that raced with him, that are texting me going, hey, watch this. because he was trying to pass for the lead. They're going, watch this. He won't put a bumper on the guy because we don't, SVG is going to pass him without even touching him. Watch this. And so it imprinted on my mind like, man, there's a code and an ethics to how they race in the V8 supercars. It's physical, but there is also like a respect level. Like you can pass the guy without pushing him through the corner.
It is different.
Maybe in the 3 years since SVG's been in NASCAR, he's learned to push people through the corner because he's tired of getting it.
Remember the race he got out? I think it might have been actually Martinsville. He got out. They were rather rude there.
Yeah.
So you said dirty to Connor. Do you still believe that, or was that just heat of the moment you're talking to your driver?
No, I went up to. So that's the crux of the situation. You had two cars. You own them both. You're going to go to Victor Lane. You're going to high five the shit out of SVG and say, "Hell yeah, brother, great win." But you got to go up to the other guy, and you can't lie to him and say, "Boy, you got what you deserve there," or "Yeah, no, what SVG did was all fair." You got to go up to him and tell him what you really believe. And if I'm in his car and I'm owning that car, standing right there, I'm wearing the owner's hat for this car, I've got to go. I didn't expect him to run you in the wall over there. That was pretty crummy.
You have to.
Yeah. Because that's exactly what happened. And that's exactly how I feel about this car. And then when I walked away from that car to the other car that's in Victor Lane, I'm going to tell him the truth about how I feel about his car sitting in Victor Lane. And, man, I know that there's owners that find themselves in those scenarios at the cup level, Mr. Gibbs and Rick, but it's not
easy.
It's not easy
at all.
Does it change when one driver is full-time and points on the line and the other one isn't?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about that at all. Connor, I don't look at Connor like, man, the points, the cut, the damage to today or anything like that. I'm looking at Connor going, I really don't care what happens this year. I want him to win a championship. If he win a championship with us, great. But I'm looking at Connor like, dude, you got 20 badass years in front of you.
Exactly.
What are we doing today, and what are we telling him today that's going to make sure that his 20-year career is as good as it can be? And so I'm not really going, oh darn, we needed that win. That would have been helpful to the playoff point and all this. I'm just sitting there going, all right, what do I go say to this kid so that he's a better driver tomorrow? And so that was a pretty interesting experience to be honest with you. Do
you feel like this type of situation because those guys are going to be future teammates?
Yeah, that's true. I think those two guys that, SVG's not frustrated, but Connor's a little disappointed right at the end of that race. They will be the best of friends. They will push the out of each other in terms of like trying to get better and besting each other. Connor will get better and better as a road racer, believe it or not. He
will. There's a lot to learn from SVG too.
Oh, it's going to be insane.
Yeah.
Like, and SVG won't be here for 20 years. And when he moves on, the Connor Zilisch will be
the
SVG of the Cup Series. So, if all those things work, if everything works out like it should,
I think it's going to be like this big brother, little brother relationship.
Yes, exactly. And SVG's a great guy.
He is. He's a great
Connor's
leader.
a good guy too, right? And so they'll find some common ground, right? But they will be it'll be a lot like Gordon and Johnson. When they were at HMS, they had those races at Martinsville where they get out and go, man, me a little dirty. They're gonna have those because they're both good and they're both gonna be up front.
And you think about it, SVG and Connor basically are on the same like what they need to improve. Like they're both road course, they can help each other there. But then we're both trying to get better at the oval.
You were right on. And so I feel like I think that's gonna endear them to each other as they both have some things that they're trying to accomplish together. And so while that was a profound moment on Saturday, it was a bit of a look into the future, which was kind of fun.
Hey, Dale, I know Tuesdays are busy for you with the Dale Jr. download. You also got your production meeting, so I
want to touch on the Cup race if we could.
Yeah, you're good.
SVG wins 4 out of 5 Chicago races that he's entered in his career, counting the Xfinity races that he's ran there. Logano Chastain incident. Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain
wrecked.
I guess destroyed Logano and Stenhouse. And now I bet Ross feels pretty crummy having seen a replay of the of how that all went down. Hilarious. The two eccentric. Dude, I love this guy. He's a funny guy. But he totally stepped on his dick right there. And we played the replay, and the car's he's hauling ass into turn 1, and the rear tires are locked up.
Yes, they are.
And it was just like Kyle Busch at the wet in Mexico.
Yeah.
But there wasn't no excuse. And it's like that car's going and he's like, oh,
Yeah.
and no one in front has any idea what's coming.
They're gonna.
Oh yeah. And so, Ross is the one at the domino at the end of the line that gets knocked into the wall. And
he's mad.
and it all happened so fast. And I was like, oh, Ross is wrecked. And then
they all saved it. Like they made it
I
through
know.
the corner.
I didn't pick up on he bounces off the wall and just grabs a gear and keeps going and goes down to the corner and dumps the 22. I saw the 22 wreck and I saw Ross wreck him. But it was just, I don't know, man. I don't know how to, I was sitting there watching this and I'm going, and then when it all got finished and we get another half a lap into the race, I'm like, Ross is 7th. Like Ross is still
He's still fine.
He came out of that completely fine. The most Ross Chastain thing ever, right, is for him to go down into turn 1 and get bowled, get bowled into the barrier, bounce off, wreck a couple guys, come out of turn 2, still in the top 10.
That is.
And Joey, being Joey, he's all pissed off.
Ross just randomly just short circuits.
Dude, Ross is the kind, yeah. I mean, he does. But when Ross went, what I think's interesting is Ross did not for 1 second go, I wonder if it was him.
Oh, he made his mind up right away. Or he just said, that's the car I'm hitting.
On a road course, you should be thinking that, that the wrecks start 3 back.
But you don't know. You don't know that. The guy could have ran over you.
Like, he instantly just...
He did.
He didn't wait 200 feet. His spotter didn't say who it was. He just reacted.
He made his mind up right there.
And Joey's just kind of bebopping along. Like,
he got hit through there a little bit, too.
Joey's like, hey, okay, everybody, we made it through there. Whoa, what the... And so I find that pretty interesting. Ross was just like...
That was definitely unfair.
It's your ass, Joey. I mean, immediately.
It's you.
Yeah, I'm getting your ass.
That was it.
Joey then claims that Ross admitted it afterwards,
Well,
and then wants him fined. Where do you stand on that?
Oh, come on.
It's kind of like the tree falling in the woods.
Yep.
Yeah. It makes a sound, but if nobody's there to hear it, does it make a sound? Was that the question?
Yeah, the only person that claims that he admitted it is Joey.
Yeah. Ross would have to do that publicly, Joey.
Yeah.
And Joey knows that. But Joey doesn't really want him fined. Joey just needed a reason
to mad.
Publicly say he admitted wrecking me.
So then when I get him back later, it's like I'm not being the bad guy.
I don't think there's...
Joey just wants you to know. Joey just wants us to know that Ross admitted to doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Joey doesn't care if he gets fined. But Joey just wants us to know that Ross came up to him personally and admitted it. And somehow that might make Joey feel better about it.
Do you think Joey feels like he needs to get Ross back?
Joey will probably get Ross back at some point. It might be a year from now. It might be, at some point, and we might not even notice or recognize it. But Joey will, something will happen somewhere at a racetrack, and it might just be, it might just be Joey air blocking Ross and cost him a few spots on a restart.
Might not be a wreck. It might just be, I'm going to run you hard.
Yeah, it
dirty
might be
a little
something
bit.
that cost Ross a bunch of spots that we don't even connect back to this, and Joey will be like, yeah, got your ass. You know.
Does it happen like Denny and Ross at Pocono, where Denny puts Ross in a position where, look, I'm not going to wreck you, but I'm going to put you in a spot where if you're either going to hit the wall, and Ross hit the wall.
If we're that, I hope we're that lucky that they are in that sort of scenario in the next couple of weeks.
I love when this Ross pops up every 10 races. Like, continue this, please.
I miss old Ross.
Yeah.
Ross used to really stir the pot up pretty good.
So Bubba Wallace and Bowman got into it. This was an interesting one because, we followed that up until the spin, and we kind of stumbled and missed the spin. But the battle was physical, pretty crazy. And you kind of saw, I guess what I was like, oh, shit, man, Bowman's like, no, man. Bubba took a couple swipes in the race car. Bubba was pretty aggressive, and they banged off each other. Bubba pushed him through 12, right? And I was like, oh, man, I don't know how Bowman's going to respond to this. Is Bowman going to bow up?
He was more aggressive than I thought he was going to be.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, Andy was on fresher tires, too.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like,
was the first contact in 11?
If Bowman gets, knocked out of shape in a corner, what do you think every driver, you have a idea in your mind how every driver's going to react to that scenario. And I'm with TJ. I thought, I saw a little more out of Bowman than I expected in terms of reacting.
I liked it.
Yeah, it's fine. I liked it too.
I think the build up all week with these two kind of probably it's already in his mind, and it happens.
Is there a
like he's ready to go.
Yeah.
They interviewed him
before the race.
Walking to get there was the bracket, they were going head to head. So they were talking about this little rivalry they have. So it's fresh in his mind, and then he does that. So Alex probably like, you know what?
I could only hear that interview pre-race, and it sounded friendly, but Marty, who was there, said it was, it was not rude or anything, but he said there was still some underlying unsettled differences, because we were listening in our headsets as we're getting ready for our whatever we're going to do in the pre-race. And it sounded great. We're like, oh, they're just being goofy. But then Marty said he could feel some tension.
And they put the helmets on too, and it just changes.
So was the first contact in 11 with Alex trying to pass 23?
Man, there was so much going on.
They
were beating on each other, I think, through 7, 8, 9.
Oh, before.
I think went on for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, it'd been back and forth for almost a full lap, and then ended in turn 2. I think Bubba, apparently there's this video of them post race backslapping, and it looks like it could be a little F you buddy, but it could be friendly, you don't know. But Bowman says that Bubba came up to him and said, look, man, I thought you were going to cross me over in 2. I didn't know you were out there, and I'm not basically Bubba's saying, hey, it was my I stuffed you in the wall, I get it.
It had that look. It had that look of what Bubba was saying, right? If that's what he said.
Yeah,
it did look like, because it looked like their bumpers crossed, and Bubba got to trying to, tank slapping a little bit, and
well, it was a listen. I don't think that it's. I thought it was good, hard racing, like as physical as you could get without going over the line of being ridiculous or foolish. But if Bubba wants to own, hey, I didn't know you were out there, and I thought you were crossing me over, and that's how this went down. I wasn't trying to park you in the fence. I thought you were trying to get underneath me off of 2.
I don't think Alex went off that corner and said, I'm wrecking Bubba right here. I think it just worked out, and he said, I'm not cutting any brakes.
Yeah, Alex just decided my nose is in there, I'm going to leave it.
Yeah.
At this point.
Nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah. I also wanted to say, I want to stay on this rivalry or this pairing because it was part of the bracket. Now, look, we were talking about I was talking about the fans that, I was quizzing you guys about, who are these people that are complaining about us going to Chicago. Now I want to quiz you about the people that are complaining about the bracket.
Those people.
Why are you complaining about this bracket?
They're the worst.
I know.
Just
Why?
don't
What's the
do
point?
it. Like,
You don't have anything to do with it.
Well, there are people saying that there's too much talk about the bracket, but it's like literally these two guys, Bubba and Bowman, are in this thing for a freaking $1 million.
So why?
It
adds to it.
thank you.
They are battling on the racetrack, spinning each other out, and whoever wins that battle is going to advance into the next round.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 8 drivers. Then it's 4. Then it's 2 for $1 million. Why in the would we not talk about this
All week? The PR department's pushing this. Hey, you're up against this guy this week. It's something for them to push. They hear it all week.
We were listening to drivers after the big pile up in turn between 10 and 11.
Oh, I know that one.
And they were all going, "Oh man, there's your guy. There's your bracket buddy. He's all up in this one." And so they're taught, even though the drivers and the teams are gonna hey, okay, it's not priority. It's not the most important thing today. They're still thinking about it. They're still concerned about it. And when they're, when they're sitting there and the guy they're going up against in the brackets wrecked out of the race and they're talking about it on the radio, we're going to talk about it ourselves.
Why not?
And if you don't like it, the bracket, then don't.
The bracket builds it up. The bracket builds some of this tension up, man.
Yeah,
it builds it up.
I don't see why anybody would be upset that we want to have this bracket.
It goes back to what your first thing. There's always going to be a group of people complaining about something.
I know, but it don't make any sense to complain about this.
Who cares?
Welcome to social media, Dale.
It's not changing anything changing anything with their
complaining about
world.
complainers doesn't make sense.
I love to complain. It's a good. I mean, complaining about and moaning sometimes feels really good.
Yeah, it does.
Just
don't complain about Chicago or the bracket. Damn it!
To pound the desk and just go off. I love it.
If Ty Dillon wins this thing by default, I'm gonna complain.
Why? That's
kidding.
Perfect.
Oh my gosh!
Look,
it'll go off the rails.
Ty Dillon has been the best part about the bracket.
It's pretty entertaining.
He had another line set up about beating Brad. Kudos to him.
It's pretty entertaining.
Are you just sour, TJ?
I didn't even see his line. What did he say?
About game of knockout.
I didn't see it either.
I didn't. Must have not been that good. You're just sour from the one before.
What do you mean sour?
Sounds like Ty Dillon's got a new fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm celebrating Ty Dillon.
Yeah. So like when you get your ass kicked in the playoffs,
you root for that.
You root for the team that beat your ass to go forward, because if he wins, it's almost like you finished second. You know what I mean? You're like, well, they knocked us out, and they went on and won it. We'd have probably beat all those other teams too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would have beat Brad.
Yeah. There you go.
I don't.
I walked you right
P4.
Never got the chance, did you?
Huh?
Never got the chance, did you?
Well, he's still P4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I like this bracket.
Yeah.
Even though my guy Busher got knocked out. What the hell? I told him to pit. They had a chance to come down pit road. Zane Smith comes down, gets his new tires, drives right by us. And then...
Who? Chris?
Yeah.
Well, Chris had a motor issue.
But did you watch the last 20 laps? Zane was slowly...
Did you see what happened when Hocevar deleted a bunch of cars in the beginning? I was one of them cars.
I know. So well, okay. Toward the end of the race, we passed Zane. I say we.
I was going to say.
Look, I'm invested in the bracket. That's we. Yes.
I mean, if you're saying we, he's into the bracket.
Dale's on the radio.
Yeah. And so, we're sitting there with, I don't know, it's like 11 laps to go, and there was opportunity to pit. And Zane Smith and his guys come down pit road, put on tires, lined up about 8 spots back. And there was the wreck into one with Chastain and all that bull. And we ran like a lap and a half, and the 47 gets off the racetrack, and I think the 2 parked. And
he probably did.
Yeah, the 2 parks and brings out another yellow. I look at the damn rundown. Zane Smith has went by. We had passed him on the run before this because Zane was struggling for some reason. And even with the engine issue.
So there was hope.
Yeah, there was hope.
That's awesome that there was hope.
Busher and the boys didn't even come down and put tires on it.
Maybe they didn't have any. No, I'm just kidding.
Damn. Whether you've got one shelf or a whole wall dedicated to NASCAR diecast, there's always room for more. And nobody brings the excitement to the track and to your collection like Lionel Racing, the official diecast of NASCAR. From the legendary rides like the number 3 Goodwrench car to the paint schemes of today's hottest stars like Kyle Larson and Ross Chastain, Lionel Racing diecasts are built for true fans. Every car is authentically detailed, and most are available in both 124 and 164 scales. Whether you're after race wins, special finishes, autographed pieces, or the elite premier editions, Lionel has you covered. And right now, for a limited time, fans of the Dale Jr. Download can get free U.S. shipping on their next order at LionelRacing.com. Just use the promo code DJD25. That's promo code DJD25 at LionelRacing.com. You know booming speeds when you see it. Xfinity Wi-Fi is booming. Like the roar of a NASCAR engine on race day, it gives you the power and the speed of NASCAR in your home. Choose the right plan for you and you're off to the races. The best streaming experience for all your favorite sports. They don't just raise the bar, they stream in overdrive. Xfinity's a proud premier partner of NASCAR, and we're off and running. So Andrew's here. Bring in the questions, pal.
Absolutely. This first question, it was probably the most asked question I saw this week, so I can't pinpoint it to a name, but what were your guys' opinion on the caution at the end of the race, the Cody Ware crash?
What was our opinion?
Yeah, like should NASCAR have thrown the caution
yeah,
earlier? Did they wait too long?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so there was a wreck earlier in the race where Josh Berry was sitting down in turn 7. Should have been a yellow. He's sitting there. His car's broke.
He hit the wall hard.
We waited for in the entire field to pass the entry to pit road, or I don't exactly know what we were waiting for, but it was a minute and a half that the caution should have been thrown. Some people, like I think Bubba Wallace, maybe Reddick and a few others, ducked down the pit road as that 21 was sitting there, and that, so you know that you got to throw the yellow when you know that car's not moving. And so that was like that right there had everybody sensitive to what happened at the end of the race, at least me. And so when we talked about it earlier in the show, the 51 is in the tire barrier. We cut to see him in the tire barrier. We had cars in the tire barrier last year and the year before, and I thought he locked the brakes up and slid in there. I didn't know he hit the damn thing at 100 miles an hour. I didn't hear the in-car audio either. The broadcast didn't know he had hit the wall that hard. I'm not sure what information NASCAR had, but I'm assuming they had spotters down there.
They didn't know how he went into
Right.
it. They just knew that he was under.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's you got SVG, in the middle of 11 and 12?
Close, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think
It was like 15 seconds or something from
knowing everything we know now. I mean, it's easy to say an hour, 2 hours later when we watch all those videos of the 51 hitting the wall at 100 mile an hour. He looked like a missile going into the corner. You couldn't even make it out that it was a car. He was going so fast. Absolutely, it's easy to say. You're damn right. You got to throw the yellow. The guy was,
We have seen cars hit it and bounce off and kind of keep going though before.
Well, I mean, we didn't know he hit it at 100
I know exactly.
mile an hour.
That's what I'm saying.
We
yeah.
were when you look at that, he was stuffed in the tires pretty good, but so was Larson last year.
Right.
Um,
And that was the thing. I talked to NASCAR about this after the race, and they referenced that they gave Larson the same opportunity to attempt to back out, but didn't. So they were giving him the chance. Obviously, they hadn't seen him back out, but that was one thing that they did reference from last year.
My biggest problem with the 51 wreck is that none of us knew it was as bad as it was.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's my biggest problem, is that none of us knew. NASCAR didn't know. I didn't know. And that's where we don't have enough bodies in place, or that part of the racetrack where you have the turn 1 coming and driving, you have turn 1 and turn 6, like they're right there together. That would be a very easy place to have someone
Sure.
standing that's a spotter for debris or wrecks or anything else, a car stuck in a barrier, right? You could have one person able to basically look at almost 20% of the racetrack and cover all of those spaces. If that had been, and maybe there was a person there and they didn't see it, but my problem isn't, my problem is we absolutely should have known the minute he hit that wall that he hit it at 100 mile an hour, and it was violent and it was scary, and it was a matter of how quick can that person get on the button to NASCAR to the tower and say hard wreck.
Like he's not moving.
Yeah,
out of this tire barrier.
And then that quickly, gives them the opportunity to throw the yellow. The yellow comes out.
And get to him.
Yeah, we get to him. And if we got to have a green-white checker, we got to have a green-white checker. If the rain, I guess there's this little conversation that NASCAR didn't want to throw it because there was weather coming, right, and they didn't want the race ruined or whatever. I don't believe that.
I don't either.
No, NASCAR's not thinking all of those variables, right? They're just trying to let the race finish as they would any other way.
If they throw the yellow and he backs out,
but yeah,
and SVG gets punted into the first corner, then that's not a good ending.
The thing with NASCAR is they will listen to, they react off of fan reaction. And so there'll be a race somewhere where they throw the caution early, right? Or throw the immediately, and they shouldn't have, or they could have let it play out, right? Why didn't you let them run on around? That was fine. The wreck was on the back straightaway. They're coming to the checkered, and then they'll go, okay, all right, well, next time we're going to let it play out. And so they try to let it play out, and then they get, their toe stepped on here because the guy hit the damn wall at 100 mile an hour, and they should have thrown the yellow because he was needing some assistance, and so what people are asking for is consistency, but they're not always going to love that call. And so I would say that NASCAR needs to err on the side of safety and get to the driver, right? We don't know if he hit the wall at 10 mile an hour, 100 mile an hour, but he's wrecked, and let's get to him, okay? And so if you err on that extreme, right, you're going to throw the caution immediately every time, and there will be some moments when people do not like that, because they want the race to continue, because they saw that it's not a very serious accident, and they believe, by judgment and just optics, that the guy's probably fine. And so,
especially if it changes the outcome of the race.
Yeah, NASCAR tries to give it a chance, right?
Yeah, to try and get, especially on a road course, a green flag finish.
And so, but in this situation, that was not the right choice.
Yeah.
And so they're going to get scolded for that. And I believe it's, it's kind of warranted because of the severity of the wreck. But I'm more bothered that we didn't know the wreck was severe.
You think the track should be 100% covered.
Yeah, you
with
think it
some
should,
eyes.
but it's not. Dude, TJ's spotting in the front straightaway, and I just know this because of the Xfinity race. TJ's on the front straightaway spotting. He's on top of the grandstands, and he can look out in front of him and see the racetrack, but he can see nothing that way and nothing that way.
But they literally put out a video right before the race about race control and how they have cameras at every turn and they can see everything. Well, then have somebody watching all of those so that when something happens.
I feel like that is where the ball got dropped, or that's where the problem is not so much should they have thrown the yellow. It's not that. It's like we should have known the crash was bad immediately, right? Like we should know the severity of the wreck first, right when it happens. To common sense applies then that yes, throw the yellow. And so that was what was missing on Sunday.
Yeah. Let's go to the next question. It's from Mike, but not our Mike, a different Mike.
Mike.
He wants to know, there were a bunch of drivers that posted that they tried the NASCAR 25 game last week. Did you get a chance to play it?
No, I wasn't here.
We heard you did.
I did.
I was in Chicago. I was working.
So tell us about it.
He should have been working too.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I was not playing. Nah, I was wanting to ask you about this. So I saw the social media. of the drivers that came through, and they were this was at Junior Motorsports.
Yeah.
Right?
We were jealous.
So I guess Byron's tried it, Rajah,
Sammy
Smith,
Noah,
handful of drivers, right?
Byron.
So nobody has any race footage, game footage.
I think there's one screenshot of
just a screenshot.
That.
When you were here, what did you see?
I saw Steven was practicing when I walked up.
Steven who?
Stefan.
Okay.
Oh.
He was practicing.
Oh, nice.
He was running practice
Nice to not
laps.
tell us.
During work hours.
I'm glad a lot of work was getting done last week.
Hey, this is work because we're talking about it now on the show.
Okay.
No? I was doing
I'm
I was
not
doing
loving
research.
this so far. Keep going.
So he was practicing. He gave me the remote. I ran like a practice lap. And
What
then
track?
We were at Charlotte. I was racing
Okay.
as Justin Allgaier.
Okay.
And
The AI Justin or real life Justin?
Just driving his car.
I was driving the 7.
You said you were
Xfinity
racing
car.
with
as.
Yeah.
So then the iRacing guys are like, okay, go to the race. So I got to see the like pre-race menu screen. I got to see like the garage stall. Even like when the race started, I got to see like the car firing up on pit road, and it felt good. It felt good. The difficulty I think was on the easier setting, so I had to like.
Well, it is you, so I expected.
Yeah. Well, all right. I had to like let off the gas, but I wanted to race in the field. The damage was
like
really
you normally do.
realistic. I like rear-ended Brandon Jones, and you could see the back end of his car was dented in. You could feel the dirty air. Tires got worse as it went on. So, I mean, all the things you'd want in the game.
Were you here when
there.
the Noahs and Rajahs were trying it?
I was here when Noah tried it. I didn't see Rajah.
So all the drivers got off of this deal and got on social media and were like raving about how great it was. Do you think that they embellished?
I would say it's the best NASCAR console game we've had in the last 10 years.
Have you played them?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I've played. I mean, my favorite game was NASCAR 15.
Yeah.
And this is the best one I've played since.
The word he used that I think is the best way for non-racers is it didn't feel arcade.
Yeah.
Curlin told me, and I think that is a good way to explain it for non-racing people like you guys.
I was able to run the top, the bottom, but it didn't feel like I was, exactly to Travis's point, I was playing on an arcade game, which I think unfortunately some of the older games, like the NASCAR Heat games, felt that way.
Yeah.
This did not feel like that.
You weren't just going to go bowling through the field and win.
No, I mean, you had to earn it. You had to let off the gas in the corners, which again, these are the things you want. But I feel like in the NASCAR Heat games, it didn't. That kind of stuff didn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is gonna be a good game for people who are beginners, because you could put assists on and all that. But if you're a diehard fan, someone who's been iRacing, I think you're gonna like it too.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a great game. And me and TJ were talking about college football 25 and 26. So 26 just came out. 26 has a ton of new developments, right? They released 25, and it was like the comeback. But it had, but it was sort of more of a basic version of a very good game, right? And it had some things
they did a good job
about it. They did a great job. We've played it for a whole year, and we're still playing it in this dynasty.
Yeah, absolutely.
26 is coming out, and there's a ton of new additions and they went way deeper.
Fine-tuned it.
Yeah. And I believe that will be the same path that NASCAR 25 takes, is the rebirth of the console, the good console game out of the NASCAR genre is going to be a solid a solid first chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And then as they, there's a 10-year plan, right? Next year, a lot of new additional accessories and so forth will be added, and things will get more immersive. But I'm excited about it too. I think it'll please a lot of people.
Yeah, no, that is actually exactly the case. I've already talked to some of the iRacing people, and they're telling me there's things they can't get in this game, but they want to get in the next one. So to your point, exactly, that I think is the mentality. This next question coming from Jay. We had Josh Snider on the show last week, and you told that great story of picking TJ up from Buffalo. So TJ, this guy Jay wants to know, what was your perspective of Dale and Josh Snider and everyone picking you up from Buffalo?
Well, they were
down here.
hear all the details of it, but
thanks
they
for
were supposed to
listening.
be there about at 8 o'clock at night, and it ended up being like 8 o'clock in the morning in the middle of a snowstorm.
The next day.
So yeah,
The 12-hour trip turned into a 22-hour trip.
Well, and there was no look at your phone for a map. It was literally an atlas that you had.
Follow the compass.
Yeah,
north.
and I'm on. They were calling me, "Hey, if we get on this road, will it lead us to you or whatever?" And I'm getting on the computer and trying to look up where I'm like, "Where are you at again?" And it's really hard, but it was.
We would tell him where we were.
Yeah, in DC, right?
And there would be like a delay.
Sense.
And he'd go, "Why are y'all on that road?
Like,
y'all
you
need
get
to
in the car and drive north. That's all you have to do. You end up on the East Coast.
And we're like, he's like, okay. Y'all got to turn right up here. Y'all got to turn. You got to turn on this road.
It went
here."
from,
and we're in the truck. We're in the truck, and we're just like, we're not turning right.
It was like Carmen San Diego. Like,
And
where's Carmen San Diego?
TJ's like, you got to get on 85, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
dude.
y'all, is that a 4-lane? Yes. TJ, is that a 4-lane? Yeah. We're not getting on that. We're not doing
Yeah, because you were taking interstate.
no 4 lanes.
It was like, all right. They would say, well, we're in Washington, D.C.
so
now. I'm
annoyed.
like, okay, I don't know how you get there on the way here. And then it went from that to like, all right, so they're moving along now. They're going to be, all right, you should be crossing. Where are you at now? Gettysburg? I'm like, oh, my God. Oh, my gosh. Are you serious?
And like in the middle of the night. Not like
No, that's
not
the thing.
Not like
Yes.
sightseeing in the afternoon.
Dude,
like rolling up. Oh, I think we're at Gettysburg.
what was the
what is
direction?
that flame?
What was the direction thing everyone
up on
used
that
to use?
pole? Oh, it's the eternal flame. Oh my gosh.
What was the computer direction thing everyone used to use? It wasn't Google Maps back then.
MapQuest?
It was MapQuest. Well, that's,
Compass.
I mean,
yeah, the stars.
so they get there in the middle of a snowstorm. We get back, and we ended up just taking.
I want to ask you a question.
I don't know if I want to answer this.
You knew we're driving
I
for
know where this
22
is going.
hours to get you.
No, I knew you were driving about 22 is not what I was expecting.
no.
So you earned what you get.
But we drove for 22 hours while you watched us, on your on your map. You knew weeks ahead of time we were coming up there.
Yeah.
We get to your house and you didn't have a thing packed.
First of all,
you didn't have one thing packed.
First of all, it's the middle of a snowstorm. It's
what has that got to do with anything?
It's 20 degrees outside. The amount of stuff that I brought back could probably fit in this table. So whatever.
Exactly, and it didn't take much to pack it up.
Exactly. So there
we
shouldn't have been hard.
We got there. He's got this little trailer we're going to hook up to the back of the dually. And I peek in there and I'm like, where's your
I mean, this
Oh,
is
I
it.
haven't put it in there yet. We go upstairs to his room, and his room is like he ain't moving. He's not moving. Everything's
first
where
of
it's
all-
supposed to be. I'm like, you not even got your clothes out of your closet?
No,
your
I
chest,
had all that.
You know, your
I had
clothes-
all that ready. He's exaggerated
And
on
he's
that.
like,
I had
oh.
all that ready.
He's like, oh, I ain't bringing none of that stuff. I'm like, how are you going to live? Like, what do you think's going to happen?
I was moving
You
into
think
a
you're-
place that had the only thing I
has
brought.
clothes? Like, you're going to move
I
into
brought
a-
all my
Fully
clothes.
furnished.
That's what he thought fully furnished meant. You're going to have clothes,
Yeah,
underwear.
Dale,
Where's
give
my
me the
toothbrush?
Dale, you're like, I'll give you the clothes off my back. I'll help you
gonna
move
move-
here. He
yeah.
took
The
that literally.
only thing I really cared about, and I wasn't going to put in there, was my computer, and I wasn't putting that thing out there in 15-degree temperatures. So
Yeah.
Well,
but yeah, it was an interesting trip.
my favorite part about that story that you told last week was you stop at a hotel and you leave the
God.
trailer in the parking lot, and TJ was worried about leaving
Yeah.
it there, and
Yeah.
you're like,
That was-
TJ, there
yeah.
ain't shit in there.
That was I had a computer in there. That was my life.
He had a computer.
Yeah,
in
you
there.
can take
And
my
this is-
clothes, man. I don't
this is-
care about them.
This is like 2001 computer.
Yeah.
Not like, I mean, it's like,
Yeah, but we had. Remember, we had them.
it had racing on it, iRacing.
Not even iRacing at that
Yeah.
point, but it had. Yeah, I mean that was everything though to me. So
I know.
Did you race the luggage carts? Were you part of that on the way back?
So that was the first.
cops?
That was the first time that I was like, "What have I gotten into here?" Because
Oh my God.
because
It wasn't when we were at the bar that had
helping
was
the
half
brothers
bar,
fight?
half strip club earlier, and the fight was going on.
Yeah.
That wasn't when you thought, "What have I got myself into?" It was the
Well,
racing the luggage carts with the police.
that whole night, how we got there, how we got back, the holes in the wall, of the hotel hall. I don't know if you said anything about that, but they're putting holes in the wall.
Yeah.
In the hotel?
Because the corner of the luggage carts.
The luggage carts went through the wall in the hall of the hotel.
And I'm like,
God.
hey, the
oh
police
man.
were there.
Yeah, you're right.
and I'm-
Yeah.
that whole night was like, this is the rest of my life. This is gonna be good.
Wow.
God, what a hangover that next day.
That was a bad day. That was hard. That next day.
Waking up in a random hotel in Ohio.
It was West Virginia.
West Virginia. And going, God, we got, 12 hours to get, 10 hours to get home or whatever.
I don't even know what it was. God. Yeah. It was that was the longest
That was the
ride.
moment you were like, okay,
I think it took longer to
get this over with.
Yeah.
It took longer to get from there back to North Carolina than it did for them to drive all the way up. Like that trip home from there down North Carolina was long.
Yeah.
Wow.
And painful, but it was an exciting. I mean, we'll never forget it.
Did you ever get a brand?
No, I would always do the Irish goodbyes whenever
TJ could see the brand coming.
I'm out.
You could smell
He's
it.
like, they're gonna.
When they redid Josh's, and like, oh, that wasn't good. I was do it again, and I'm like, ugh, you could smell it, and I was like, yeah, I'm getting out of here. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was
Yeah, TJ would. Where's TJ?
Yep.
You're next, TJ. Where's he at?
And yours is on your arm, right?
Yeah. Everybody got it on their arm. One
Could you imagine doing it twice in a row, like right after one another? You just did it, and like, oh, let's do that again.
Well, I mean, the flame of the torch cleans it up.
Yeah, but
for the next guy.
Yeah, that sounds.
No, I'm talking about Josh doing it back to back.
Yeah, doing back to back for Josh is crazy.
Oh my gosh! When I saw that, I'm like,
Josh. Listen now. Let me tell y'all about Josh. All right, we didn't tell this part before the brand. The reason why the brand came about is because Josh, at some point in his life, had taken a bottle cap, like just a bottle cap, and did the Olympic rings.
What?
Yes, with a bottle cap. He got, he's feeling very patriotic during the Olympics one year, and heated up a damn bottle cap and did the Olympic rings.
That's crazy.
I mean,
I wanted them to ask,
and so he used to, we'd be somewhere and we're like, Josh, show him your Olympic rings.
Yeah, he played.
Oh yeah, he'd be like, ah.
He competed,
and we're like, then because it looked hideous, and and so that's what really kind of got the gears turning in our head. I was like, man, I got a brander for a steak.
Oh.
It's DMP. We're all
it was for steak. It was for steak.
Yeah.
We're all boys here. Let's do this, man. Let's get branded.
Do you remember the time that I wasn't there for this, but Josh told me about it when we lived together for a little bit? You and Josh were taking some trash out, and Josh was in the back here, S10.
Oh my God! I almost killed him. Oh my God!
He pops the clutch and takes off, and
I forgot Josh was in the back. So we had a party. Get up the next morning. We're taking the trash, all the beer cans and bottles to the trash to the dump. So right across the street from my house was DEI, and we're going over their big dumpster to throw our cans in. And so we drive over there, and we dump the cans in the trash can, and we dump the cans in the dumpster. And I'm in my little S10 pickup truck, and it was a automatic.
You took off, whatever it was.
It was an automatic. And so we pull up to the gate and wait for the gate to open up to let us out, and we're driving back across the street. Josh is standing in the bed holding the trash can instead of like sitting down. He's standing in the bed of this truck, and I have forgot that he is even there. And it's TJ, and of course, we're at a standing start. I'm gonna freaking do a burnout, and I put it in drive, and I damn rev that thing up and let off the gas, and Josh cartwheels out of the back of this truck and lands on his back.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
I'm glad.
And he popped right up.
He said he laid there, and you were like, Josh, you hurt? And he just said, well, just let me lay here for a little bit.
Oh my God. That is hilarious.
Anyways, thank you to Xfinity Wi-Fi for bringing us today's Ask Junior segment. In racing and in life, speed isn't optional. It's expected. As a driver and Xfinity Series team owner, I rely on things that perform under pressure, and that's why we use Xfinity Wi-Fi, fast, dependable internet, one price, locked in for 5 years, no contracts, no slowdowns, no nonsense. Xfinity, proud premier partner of NASCAR. Thank y'all. Hey, everybody, you want the latest Dale Jr. download apparel? Visit shop.dirtymomedia.com. We're always adding new stuff all the time, especially like when we say something silly on this show. We'll put it on a T-shirt. Again, check it out at shop.dirtymomedia.com. All right, it's time for Dirty Mo Dough without Tampa Tim's.
Boo.
Tampa Tim's is in Mexico. And what part of Mexico do you go to, Travis?
Cancun.
Travis, he went to Cancun. But we do have Russell. And since Russell's here, I mean, that's probably the most important part anyways. Tampa Tim's doesn't do nothing but win and lose bets. Doesn't really offer any really good insight.
Came close to hitting our manufacturer parlay.
We came close. God almighty. More disappointment.
Your favorite driver screwed it.
Busher ruined it.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything.
That's so frustrating. Well, SVG and Ty Gibbs did a good job, but 2 out of 3 does not win us any money. So we're headed to Sonoma. We won't talk about Chicago since we lost our manufacturer parlay. Did anybody win any money? Did you bet?
So I do know somebody tweeted at us. They put I forget who they put the Ford in. They actually hit their parlay.
Congratulations.
So people are listening. Maybe they're just tweaking it.
I'm great. You know what?
Yeah,
you don't
why
have
not?
to tell ours. Just make a parlay and see if you can win.
Yeah.
I'm proud. I'm happy for you.
Great job on that.
Yeah. SVG is a betting favorite going into Sonoma. He's never raced there in the Cup cars, he mentioned, but he has some Xfinity experience. I wonder if it'll be similar to, other road courses like Watkins Glen where the field is more closer. You'd have to guess and assume that it's not a clear cut as maybe Chicago was. But
sure.
What's the predictor say there, Russell?
Yeah, I agree. The predictor has him third, but it's only because he didn't race there. So it's Larson, Bell ahead of him, and then Chase Elliott, Reddick, and Allmendinger behind him.
Larson.
Yeah, he won there last year. He's got 2 wins there. You don't like Larson there? He's
actually
really struggled since
What
the
is his
500.
average? Yeah, what is his average finish since the Indy 500? I mean, it feels like, if I had to guess, it's like 8th. And I don't know that, how many top 5s has he had since Indy?
He only has 1 top 5. It's way worse than 8th.
8th? Oh, it's way worse than that.
Oh, I wouldn't have guessed that. But.
So, yeah, I'm not betting on that. So that's a tough one. So Sonoma, I would say that I like Byron better. I know Byron had a lot of speed in practice at Chicago before he wrecked. He had great speed at Pocono. The team seems to be peaking. And he, I remember him driving away, winning a stage there a couple years ago when I think Chad Knaus was his crew chief. But so I think he can go there and be fast. They pitted that car and called that race to lose because they wanted the stage points and the stage wins.
Yeah, that's right.
But so I wouldn't look at Byron's results and go, that's kind of what I think. You look at his results with a grain of salt because of the way they may have called the races.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago. That was like 2019.
I know, man. It matters.
Since then, he hasn't been good there though. This is not a good track for him.
Not a good track for him.
And he's in the worst 3-race streak of his career.
So I don't love the Larson bet. Like, give me some more. Give me something to feel good about.
What about Michael McDowell?
Michael McDowell has got a chip on his shoulder coming out of Chicago.
Yeah, runner-up there last year.
Runner-up where?
NASCAR,
At Sonoma?
Sonoma, yeah. Runner-up there last year.
Damn, all right.
Where'd McDowell run at Coda?
He was 11th at Coda. He ran outside the top 10. Like, he was
that?
almost 20th running all day.
See, that I'm be hesitant to take him at a place like Sonoma then. But
I don't know
that's
that
me.
you're going to have one. I don't know that you can pick a driver that you're going to feel amazing about. You have to. All of this is going to be a little bit of a risk.
What about Ty Gibbs?
I love Ty Gibbs. He's been crushing it at the road courses this year. Ty Gibbs would probably be my. Ty Gibbs might be our Toyota parlay driver.
Probably, yeah. Maybe Bell.
Yeah. I don't know. C-Bell's been off a little bit.
Yeah, I would still go with C-Bell, though.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, Gibbs has not run particularly well here either. This has not been one of his better road courses.
So strange because he's been great at the road courses over the last handful of weeks.
Yeah.
But you think he'll just go to this one and just not run well. Usually when, so you had Busher win here or run second to Suarez. And, I don't look at this track and go, man, it's a great track for Suarez. They were just on something that day. And that's the way I look at Gibbs now. They're just on something.
Yeah.
Now, he's good at road courses, but they've also given him something that the rest of the series doesn't have. And so I think they carried that into Sonoma. And I think he still runs, top 5.
Maybe. Maybe.
And I feel like whatever Christopher Bell had at the start of the year, he's just not got right now.
I think if you win somewhere like at Sonoma, Daniel's looking forward to going back here. So he has a little extra motivation here, too. So I think it's Suarez.
Oh, I was just using him as an example.
I'm just saying I think he could run good here.
Oh, no, I don't know. They ain't really that fast. And they've made it aware that he's not coming back, and it's kind of a lame duck situation where I don't think that they'll have the energy and the focus and the preparation and all that stuff will be just a little off. And it's such a fine line here. If you don't bring all of it, it's
20th all
easy
day.
to get exposed. Yeah.
What about Reddick?
Yeah, I like Reddick a lot, especially after how he ran this past weekend. Maybe I put Reddick as my top. What is that? What the predictor's telling you?
It would be Bell according to the predictor.
I don't like Bell.
Yeah, so the next one would be Reddick, and looking at the scores, you can intertwine them either one. So.
Reddick is our Toyota. Who's our Ford? Is it going to be Buescher?
The problem with Ford is on the predictor, I only have Buescher's the only Ford in the top 11. Then
I feel like Buescher was going to be very competitive at Chicago.
Me too.
So it'd be hard for not to. And maybe he's got a little more motivation this week too, to rebound. So
a little more motivation. I think that's a dumb thing. Like, can you be more motivated to win?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's going to try harder.
I'm going to really try this week.
It's just different when I don't know. I just think it's different. You look forward to getting back there, and you got a little edge to yourself. Yeah. I don't know, but it's motivation.
I'm just going to make a decision. We're going Buescher, Reddick,
SVG,
McDowell.
Oh my gosh!
Whew. I like this from a betting standpoint too. A little better.
Yeah,
number.
I like it too. Yeah, SVG's odds won't really help us.
I mean, SVG to win is plus 140. Next best is Larson at 500. McDowell's plus 1100.
Yeah, McDowell, Reddick, and Buescher. Which is the better? Which is the tougher odds? I think Gibbs or Reddick.
Gibbs is 1100. Reddick is 1400. Bell's 1400.
Wow, we'll take Reddick. All right, Reddick.
Pretty good.
Reddick, Buescher, McDowell. That's the parlay for the manufacturer. Let's look at the bracket challenge. Alex Bowman versus Ty Dillon. Do you dare go against Ty Dillon?
I mean,
I think the numbers say absolutely not. But I think when you look at what happened with him and Bubba this weekend, is there going to be any retaliation, or is there going to be a clean slate for them?
Yeah, I'm going to take Bowman. Ty Gibbs versus Zane Smith. I'm going to go with Ty Gibbs.
Absolutely.
Tyler Reddick versus Ryan Preece. This might not be as clear a cut as you think. Preece has had some good strength on the road courses. Was able to put it all together this past weekend, but I still think Reddick can just have the pace necessary at the end. John Hunter Nemechek and Eric Jones, two teammates going at it out of Legacy Motor Club. Man.
This is a really close one. I think Nemechek has the edge, but I think it's pretty close.
Yeah.
I think I'm leaning towards Jones.
I'm going to go Jones.
Yeah.
Speaking of Eric Jones, he was on the Door Bumper Clear.
Yeah.
Did he address why he wrecked Josh Berry?
I heard he did.
Dalton, did he address it?
What did he say? Was there some contact that premeditated or whatever?
I don't think it was premeditated. I think he admitted to slipping up a little bit and just diving too much to the inside and catching him. That's all.
Yeah. Damn. All right, Russell, thank you for coming in and helping us out today.
No problem.
That Dirty Modo segment was brought to you by FanDuel, the premier gaming destination in the United States of America. All right, it's time for the white flag. The teardown was live on YouTube and Twitter following the race, and Door Bumper Clear dropped on Monday as usual with Eric Jones as our guest, and he's still alive in that bracket challenge for $1 million and going up against his teammate this weekend nonetheless. Actions Detrimental dropped on Monday as well. Denny gave us his dishonest opinion about what happened between Bubba and Alex Bowman.
Not true.
True.
My guest interview will drop tomorrow. This week's guest is Carson Hocevar. Really looking forward to asking Carson why he crashed at Chicago. He crashed hard. Big crash.
Right, TJ?
Yep. Crashed really hard
He created a log jam.
Traffic jam.
in the streets of Chicago.
Also dropping on Wednesday is Speed Street and Herman Schrader. And Thursday, another episode of Bless Your Heart, where I complain about people who park in the reserved pickup spots at the grocery store and walk in.
Back in studio, right? Is Amy
back in the studio with Amy? Yeah. And Sunday, the final episode of Becoming Earnhardt, the 1980 season, as we celebrate Dad's first championship. We will be releasing episode 6, the final episode of a 6-episode series, and it's amazing. Everyone should listen. Becoming Earnhardt. It's the best thing Dirty Mo Media has today.
And it's going to end after.
That got awkward.
Well, I didn't touch that show, so thanks.
It is the best thing. Yeah. I'm enjoying it.
That's good. I think a lot of fans have enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
I've been surprised.
I like the digestible size of it too.
The size is nice, but also I feel like the sound design and how we work in a lot of the audio from, I mean, the effort that was done to get the right bits of sound is pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just well done.
Yep.
Well done.
Well done, everybody.
Well done, everyone.
Great job.
3 claps for Becoming Earnhardt. We'll see you.
See ya.